He arrived without fanfare, picked much later than anyone expected, but he's already attracting the attention of those who understand the game. A talent many analysts say is far better than any current option on the roster, someone with the courage to face pressure, make plays when no one else would, and, most importantly, completely change the future of a team that has struggled for years searching for a savior. Some veterans are certain something special is brewing, while others urge calm, saying that shouldering this responsibility so early could be costly. But what if the chance comes now? What if this is the gamble that could change history forever? What if I told you right now, Browns fans, that the future of this franchise might be sitting right there, wearing number 12, and he was picked 144th overall in the 2025 NFL Draft? That's right. Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback everyone thought would be a top 10 pick, the guy projected to possibly go second overall, somehow fell all the way to day 3, and now, he's in Cleveland. Think about that for a second. How often do you get that kind of steal in the NFL? And let's be honest, the Browns need a spark. After a brutal 3-14 season, the team is desperate for hope, for someone to believe in, and Shedeur is already starting to look like that guy. Forget the noise about his pre-draft interviews or the whispers about his attitude. On the field, during OTAs and voluntary workouts, he's showing exactly why scouts had him graded as a first-round talent. He's fearless in the pocket, willing to stand tall and throw deep even when the rush is in his face, and that's something Cleveland hasn't had in a long time. Cecil Shorts III, former NFL wide receiver, didn't hold back when talking about Sanders. On 92.3 The Fan, he said it plain and simple, "We've got something special brewing in Cleveland." Shedeur is much better than the other Browns quarterbacks. Let that sink in. A former player saying outright that this rookie, who hasn't even started an NFL game yet, might already be the best quarterback on the roster. And then you've got Dan Lab from Cleveland.com dropping another comparison that has everyone talking, Brock Purdy. The same Brock Purdy who came out of nowhere, a late-round pick who now has a Super Bowl appearance and a massive contract. Lab's exact words? What if Shedeur Sanders convinces me he's Brock Purdy? That's about as good an outcome as you could get. Imagine that, Browns fans, our own version of Purdy, a late-round gem who could flip the franchise upside down. But let's not kid ourselves, this isn't San Francisco. The Browns are not loaded with talent across the board, and they're stuck in a brutal division with the Steelers, Bengals, and Ravens, all of whom are fighting for the playoffs. That's why patience is going to be key here. Shedeur isn't walking into the perfect situation, but that might be what makes this story even better if he succeeds. Still, you can't deny the hype. National attention is already circling Cleveland, and the Browns know it. As much as we'd like to think every decision in the NFL is purely about football, this league is an entertainment business. And let's be real, nobody outside of Cleveland cared whether it was Jameis Winston or Deshaun Watson under center last year. But Shedeur Sanders? That name gets people talking, selling tickets, and buying jerseys. Whether fair or not, that's part of the decision-making process, and it could push him to the starting job sooner than anyone expected. And speaking of competition, let's talk about that quarterback room. Right now, it's Shedeur Sanders, Dillon Gabriel, Joe Flacco, and Kenny Pickett. Deshaun Watson is still dealing with his Achilles injury, and even when he was healthy, he struggled. Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett are experienced, sure, but they have ceilings we've already seen, and they're not going to suddenly turn into franchise quarterbacks. Dillon Gabriel? Well, let's just say not everyone is buying the hype. Vic Tafur of The Athletic went as far as to predict a disastrous 2025 season for the Browns, putting the win total under 4.5. Part of his reasoning? The uncertainty at quarterback and his belief that Gabriel was overdrafted. His words were sharp. The Browns will learn you can't draft a short quarterback in the 3rd round just because he has a firm handshake and intangibles. Harsh, right? Gabriel, at 5'11", has already heard all the comparisons to other shorter quarterbacks like Drew Brees and Russell Wilson, but Tafur clearly doesn't think he's in that category. In fact, he flat-out predicted Sanders would beat Gabriel out for the number 3 job in training camp. So here's where we're at. The Browns have a quarterback room full of names, but only one of them feels like the future. And if we're being honest, that future might need to start now. Flacco and Pickett are stopgaps at best, and Gabriel might still be a couple of years away from proving anyone wrong. Shedeur, on the other hand, is a rookie with the kind of upside that could change everything for this team. But here's the real question, Browns fans, do you throw him into the fire right away, or do you wait and let him develop? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Should the Browns make Shedeur Sanders the starter from day one, or should they play it safe and let him learn for a year? Because here's the thing, Browns fans, this decision isn't just about football, it's about the entire future of this franchise. The Cleveland Browns have been stuck in quarterback purgatory for what feels like forever, and now, finally, there's a real chance at hope. But hope can be dangerous if you rush it. Let's break this down for what it really is. Do you protect Sanders from the storm, or do you let him walk straight into it and see if he can handle the chaos? Think about what's at stake here. The Browns are not a playoff roster right now. The AFC North is a battlefield, with Joe Burrow's Bengals, Lamar Jackson's Ravens, and a Steelers team that's always lurking around with a solid defense. Even if Sanders plays lights out, the odds of making a postseason push are slim this year. But, and this is huge, if Sanders shows flashes of being that franchise guy, this entire rebuild takes on a different energy. Suddenly, free agents start looking at Cleveland differently. Suddenly, you're not just another team trying to survive, you're a team building towards something big. And let's not pretend this fan base doesn't deserve it. You've sat through bad quarterback after bad quarterback, through wasted seasons, through moments where it felt like nobody cared. But now, with Shedeur Sanders, there's a reason to care again. There's a reason to talk about the Browns on national shows, a reason for kids to start asking for Browns jerseys again. That matters. It might not win games by itself, but it creates momentum, and momentum can change everything for a franchise stuck in the mud. But patience, that's the word that keeps coming up. Cecil Shorts 3 said it best, if the football part follows like I think it will, we've got something special brewing. That's not a promise for week one. That's a promise for the future, and sometimes the smartest thing you can do is wait. Look at Brock Purdy, he didn't even start week one for San Francisco. He got his chance when the moment was right, and he ran with it. The risk for Cleveland is simple. If you throw Sanders out there too early, behind an offensive line that might struggle and with a roster that isn't loaded with elite weapons, you could shake his confidence before he's even ready to take over. But on the flip side, if you wait too long, if you waste a whole season letting him sit behind guys like Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett, you might be delaying the future for no good reason. And let's be honest, this is still a business. Fans aren't buying tickets to watch Pickett or Flacco play mediocre football. The national media isn't rushing to talk about Dylan Gabriel's development. All eyes are on Shedeur Sanders, and whether that's fair or not, it's the truth. When you draft a name like Sanders, you're not just drafting a player, you're drafting an entire storyline, and the league loves a storyline. So maybe the question isn't just is he ready? Maybe the real question is can the Browns afford not to play him? Because even if the team struggles this season, fans will show up if they believe they're watching the future unfold. And right now, that future is spelled Sanders. But here's where I want you, the fans, to come in. Because this isn't just my opinion, this is your team, your Sundays, your emotions on the line. So tell me right now in the comments, should the Browns start Shedeur Sanders this season, even if it's going to be rough, or should they wait, protect him, and build for the long term? What would you do if you were in charge of this team? Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to Anal. Go Browns!